Okay, I'm good. You good?
Yep.
All right, guys. Welcome back to our Week 7 recap. A day late. That's all right. One day. Um, Congrats to Chad for whooping my ass this week, putting up the highest points at 187. Nobody was really close to you this week, huh? Melissa was, I guess, second at 162. So you had a solid 25-point buffer there between you and second place. So
Did.
that makes me feel good. Like I didn't have a lot of confidence in my team coming in this week, but I would rather lose by 52 points than like 3 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I am okay getting
Agreed.
blown out. That is ideal. So I'll take my loss. I kind of expected it to begin with, but at least it wasn't close where I was like, shit.
Right.
At least it didn't come down to like, we were talking about this. I didn't start Darnus Johnson um, over Gibson. I'm glad it didn't cost me. So I would have lost either way. But anyways, okay, let's go ahead and jump into the. Actually, let's take a quick look at the leaderboard since they've now updated. You have moved into third place. Shannon is still cruising out in first. Melissa has moved into second place. Wow. I wish I could actually see like the movements, like the movements in the standings
Yeah.
from the prior week. That would be kind of cool. Because I don't remember Melissa being in the top four last week, but she is most certainly there now. One of three teams, 5-2. It's you, me, and her. Shannon's the only one with 6 wins. Um, all of us have over 1,000 points. The It's interesting right now looking at the points for. The top six all have 1,000 or more points scored. The bottom six all have under 1,000. So right now it's actually working out that the top scorers happen to be the winningest teams, which is
Right.
not always the case, right? Because you can have a ton of points scored, but if you have a ton of points scored against you, you might have a bunch more losses. So it's not shaping up to work out that way. So far, it's actually in line with the points scored. So Shannon is still far out and away. I mean, she's got 1175 points. Second is Ashley with 1060. That's over a 100-point gap. So she's still way, way out ahead. Look at that. She's got $97 of her budget left too. That's
I, it's
She
incredible.
hasn't had to make any waiver moves. Her team's been healthy. It's been phenomenal. So she's just kind of going as is. She doesn't need to make any moves. So okay, let's jump into our matchups here. Let's talk about I got Ashley and Chris first. Chris's side, this is kind of more the same for Chris. He's kind of probably had 3 or 4 or 5 weeks now where he scored 70, 80, 90 points. So I don't think we need to talk too much about his team. Bad week from Patrick Mahomes in a game where the Chiefs lost by 24 points to the Titans. I mean, I don't think anybody saw that, but Chiefs have certainly regressed this season. Excuse me. Definitely a down season for them. They are last in their division
I
or
believe
down
so.
there with Denver. So like
3 or 4.
that's pretty crazy to have the Raiders and the Broncos and the Chargers all kind of ahead of them. That's obviously hasn't happened in a few years. So anyways, let's talk about Ashley's team. Tom Brady, another solid game, 4 passing touchdowns in this game. Only 200 yards passing, but he threw 4 touchdowns, so that's all you need. I think this was sort of a milestone for him, right? He had 600 touchdowns in this game,
Yep.
and he's the first quarterback to ever do that, right? That's my understanding.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Um, it's I think I was reading something about apparently it was Mike Evans who caught the 600 touchdown. He caught 3 of these 4, I believe, but
Hmm.
and then he handed the ball off to a fan, and basically Brady had to like buy the ball off the fan, and I was just reading about all the stuff that Brady was
It's a
giving this
lot.
guy. Yeah, it was like season tickets, like a golf outing, like signed this, signed that, maybe like 50 grand, something like that. I don't know. It was a whole slew of stuff that Brady had to fork up to get his ball back. So kind of funny, but good for him. Rest of our team had a good week. Alvin Kamara, he kind of crushed it there in the
Yeah.
Monday night game in a 13-10 low scoring matchup. That was a really boring game to watch. It was like the DK Metcalf catch, and then the rest of it was just a snooze fest. So I didn't even end up watching the second half because it was just
I
boring enough.
I turned it off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Fourth
wasn't worth
quarter.
watching. So, but Alvin Kamara, great game there. Take a quick look at their benches here. Nobody really of note. She had Robinson on bye. She'll get him back. And
Yeah. That's really
Chris's
it.
team still struggling. So let's move on to the next matchup here. Talk about Justin and Papa Carl's here. So we have the father versus son, the Luke versus Darth Vader, if you will. And Luke won out. So here we go. Justin won the game. Aaron Rodgers, solid game. Mike Evans, we talked about, he had 3 touchdowns in this game. Not a ton of yards, but you catch 3 touchdowns, you're going to have a good game. So Kasicki had another good game. He's been really, really good. When you look at 4 of his last 5 games, he scored 17 or more points. Like that's pretty damn good for a tight end, especially a guy who goosed you in week 1. So
Yeah.
I can't hate that. Looking at Scott's team there, he didn't have a bad week, but he just couldn't keep up. He had to end up starting Demetric Felton, who was the second kind of running back behind Darren Johnson after Chubb and Hunt were out, and he didn't really do much in this game. Callaway has continued to disappoint. He really has done very little this season. They really need Michael Thomas back, like big time. I didn't know
Yeah.
if Michael Thomas was going to be relevant when he came back because lingering injury, new quarterback. But I think after watching that game Monday night, I feel pretty confident Michael Thomas is going to play a big role because they need some better receivers. Um, Justin had a couple guys on by this week, Diggs and Sanders, and I think we can move on from this game unless you have anything else to add.
Nope.
Yeah, just kind of a lot of middling performances there. All right, let's talk about Henry and Kate's game. So, if I recall correctly, when we were previewing this game last week, I think I had said that this was probably going to be a really low scoring affair and Kate would probably win. And Henry put up 151 freaking points, like kind of out of nowhere. So um, it was certainly not the low scoring affair that we thought because in fact Henry put up the fourth most points this week, maybe like the fourth, I believe. I'm looking at this correctly. So, we thought he might be a bottom 3 scorer, and he ended up being, top 4.
Yeah.
So good for Henry. Joe Burrow had a phenomenal game against the Ravens. That was pretty brutal to watch.
Yeah.
Godwin, another good game. He even had Kyle Juszczyk in his lineup, who goosed him. And he still had a
Yeah.
151 point game. So really, that was on the back of the Joe Burrow performance because nobody else in his lineup outside of Godwin really did a whole lot for him. I mean, 21 from your defense is pretty good though. That's
Pretty
probably
gross.
one of the highest scoring defensive plays this season, if I had to guess. Kate, on the other hand, what can we say? Amon-Ra St. Brown, after like several games of like 7 or 8 targets, I think he had 0 in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was completely uninvolved in this game, in which they scored 19 points. I mean, that just goes to show from the Lions, I think I want TJ Hawkinson and Swift and pretty much nobody else. Like, I don't even think I want to start Jamal Williams anymore.
Nope.
The offense just can't support any more than those guys. So, Kels has actually had a couple down games here. I think basically since we last said that like he was on that long stretch of 20 plus point games, which is week 1, 2, and 3, he has scored less than 20 points every week since then. So again, that's probably part and parcel with how bad the Chiefs are playing.
Yeah.
Disappointing for a guy probably drafted in the first or second round. So she had to play Sony Michel too. So her team is continued to be torn up. Russell Wilson, Barkley, Galladay, all injured. So it's going to be probably more of the same for Kate going forward. Henry's team's still a mess too with Hunt and McCaffrey. Judy and Clyde all on IR. At least Judy's coming back, it sounds like, so that'll be good for Henry.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Melissa and Scott's game. I think I'm in the wrong week here.
Yeah. You mean JT, Melissa?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Somehow I got to the week 8 matchup. Poor JT. He's managed to put up like pretty solid games most weeks. Like he's putting up 120, 130 points. So it's not like he's having these games like Kate and Chris are having where they put up 70, 80 points, right? Like you put up 70, 80 points in this league, you're going to lose. No question about it. You're going to lose. When you put up 120, 130, you got a chance, but it just has not been going JT's way. Melissa kind of crushed him here, blew him out by 40 points. Her team's been really good this season. Jamar Chase, she's got Jamar Chase, who I really, I had 0 interest in him in the draft. Like he went probably 6th round or something. Does it tell you in here? I'd be curious to know. Player history, 5th round. She drafted him in the 5th round, last pick of the 5th round, for a rookie wide receiver who coming out of camp was having trouble catching balls because he couldn't see them or something stupid. And now he's like having this monstrous, like better than Justin Jefferson season, where he's on pace for like almost 2,000 yards and all kinds of touchdowns and stuff. He's just monstrous. He's the new AJ Green for that team and probably better than AJ Green, honestly. So Kyle Pitts, solid game there too. Kyle Pitts is starting to look really good. He had his first 4 weeks slow start. His last 2 weeks played with the bye week in between there. He's had 30 points. Like that's really good. If he keeps that pace up, he will take over as tight end 1 on the season, no question about it. And live up to his draft capital. Rest of her team, kind of middling. So it was really kind of a Murray, Kyle Pitts, and Jamar Chase day, but hey, they got it done. Looking at JT, Stafford, great game, 3 touchdowns. I think Cup caught 2 of them. Um,
Yep.
Ridley has continued to be super mediocre as well. He has, Ridley's best game of the season is 19 points. Second
Yeah.
best game was 15. Every other game's been below that. So for a guy that went, let's see, second
Second
round,
round.
eighth pick, um, that's super disappointing. That's really not what you were hoping for with Julio gone. We kind of talked about that before. And just the rest of his team was just sort of, they just had okay days, double digits from a lot of guys, but not much else. Allen Robinson, borderline droppable at this point. A lot of people would probably say he is droppable because he's had one double digit game this entire season, and he's the guy that went in round 3. So that's probably the biggest bust of the season. I think we talked about that last week, so we won't talk about it too much more. Let's move on to the Jimmy and Shannon matchup. Now, how about this? So Jimmy,
Mm-hmm.
after posting 2 of the highest scores, I think back-to-back weeks, maybe weeks 2 or 3 or whatever it was, finished sub 100, and I think he had a crappy game last week too. I don't remember that exactly, but just a really, really bad game for Jimmy here. Now, one of them was Donovan Peoples-Jones, and this was kind of unfortunate because I don't know if you saw this,
Yeah.
but like they basically said he was out like after the game had started, so you couldn't really pivot from him at that point if he was in your lineup. So that was unlucky for James there. Um, Darren Waller, he was out with an injury, and Jimmy forgot to switch his lineup. So and
Well,
that
I
one,
think he did that on purpose, right? Since he already couldn't he technically have went for a backup or something, but I think he decided not to because he already lost. I mean, he was down by so much.
um,
Because Waller played
was he a
Sunday night, right? Or no, was he 1 o'clock?
I don't remember at this point. Wish it would tell me because I'm
They
curious now
played
too.
the Eagles. Was it Sunday night?
Um, what
Yeah, I
is
think it
it
was.
was Sunday night? Okay,
I
all right.
think.
So he,
I think he was getting blown out.
I'm trying to find where this tells me that. It shouldn't be as hard as it is because I clicked the matchup and it's not telling me. Um, I would love to know because I guess the point is, yeah, if he could have pivoted to like Foster Moreau though, who I think had a pretty decent game in Waller's absence. So he had options. I guarantee Foster Moreau is not rostered. Probably still is not rostered today. So he had options. He would have had to drop somebody, but he had T.Y. Hilton and Buffalo defense. Like he could have tossed one of those. I could see I guess wanting to keep Buffalo because they've been really good, but I don't know if I keep a guy in my lineup who's out if I know he's out. So um, a couple goose eggs there. A negative from Baltimore after giving up a ton of points to Cincy. Kept him under 100 points here. While Shannon had another great game, she's been, lights out every week. She's putting up 140 plus points. So she played Tua in this game. She had Dak Prescott on bye, so she said, "Okay, I'll play Tua." And then Tua goes out and has like a freaking monster game with almost 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So talk about a great stream there in Tua, who may or may not be the starting quarterback for the Dolphins here soon. I have a feeling that nothing's going to happen with that situation. I have a feeling trade deadline is going to come next Tuesday, the 2nd, and nothing will have changed. Tua will still be the
I agree.
quarterback. Watson will still be in Houston, and that'll be it. Um, Debo, another great game there. Debo's pretty much the only startable pass catcher in that offense at this point. You can't start Kittle; he's injured. You can't start Ayuk because they hate him. So it's just Debo Samuel. Rest of the lineup again, just solid performances there. So let's move on to our game here. I believe it's the last one where you absolutely destroyed me with. You had Jimmy G, handsome Jimmy in your lineup who got you less than 10 points, and you still put up 188 points here. That was part and parcel. Thank you to Cooper Cup, who absolutely went off
Yeah.
again. Another 150-yard plus performance, another couple touchdowns. He's had multiple games this season with 2 touchdowns.
I
Three,
think it's
four, in fact.
3,
He has had
4.
four 2 touchdown games this season.
That's gross.
Yeah, he's got 9 touchdowns on the season. That is 7 games in, so he's on a 20 touchdown pace for the season. So that's pretty crazy. He's put up 100 plus yards in all but 3 games, 150 yards in 2 or more games. So he's killing it. He's got to be the wide receiver one, no question about it, this season. And
Yeah.
he had another great game here against the Detroit Lions. Terry McLaurin, another great game. Damian Harris, solid game. I mean, just everybody you had pretty much went off. CJ Uzama caught 2 touchdowns against our Ravens, unfortunately. Um, so that was a great pickup and play there. AJ Brown finally had his best game of the season, thankfully. So pretty much everybody there really solid all around. My team was mediocre. I kind of knew that when I had to play Tyler Boyd, I kind of knew I didn't have much of a chance. But um,
Yeah,
and Lockett's basically benchable until Russell Wilson's back. When Russell Wilson's is there,
agreed.
it's fun playing Lockett because you can get 3 points from Lockett when Russell Wilson's playing, but you can get 40. You know what I mean? With Geno
Yep.
Smith at quarterback, you can get 3 points from Tyler Lockett, or you can get 3 points from Tyler Lockett. You know what I mean? Like there's no
Yeah.
excitement there because you know what you're getting. So he will be on my bench until Russell Wilson comes back, which is hopefully in just a few more weeks because I do like Tyler Lockett as a player. I like starting. I like having a couple solid receivers and then a guy who can has a high ceiling, right? Um, Everybody else on my team was okay this week. Gibson was disappointing. Jonathan Taylor and Swift have been phenomenal though for me. So, um, moving on from that, let's go ahead and preview our week. We're in week 8 now, right? Yeah, week 8. Okay.
Halfway.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
almost. A
Yeah.
little less.
Well, let's see. Playoffs are what? Weeks 14, 15, 16? I think that's right.
We're doing
14,
3.
15, 16. It's 3 weeks this season because we've upped it to 6 teams. So the first week of playoffs, the top 2 seeds get a bye.
Got it, right. Okay.
And then we go from there. So I'm
The
trying to
rest
think.
have to duke it out.
14, 15, 16. Yeah, the rest of us will actually have to play a game. Because there's 18 weeks this season, right?
17.
Isn't there always 17? Because it used to be it was 16 games and a bye week, so that was 17 weeks. Now it's 17 games and a bye, so that would be 18 weeks, right?
Oh, yeah.
So maybe the playoffs are actually 15, 16, 17. That sounds right. That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with your word.
I think that's correct. So just I was doing that math because I wanted to see, okay, we've played 7 games, so that means we have, yeah, you're absolutely right. We're exactly halfway then of the regular season. We have 7 more weeks until, we make it through week 14 and then playoffs start week 15. Okay. So, having said that, we're getting there. Shanna's still cruising out front. Right now, if the season ended today, you know, places 1 through 6 they'd be in the playoffs. It's like we talked about before. The structure is that teams 1 through 5 in the standings make the playoffs, and then the 6th seed is the highest score remaining. But currently, the 6th seed is the highest score of the remaining 7 teams. So it kind of works out that the top 6 would end up kind of like I said. That's what I said at the beginning. That it's kind of worked out that the highest scorers are where they should be based on their points scored. So, all right. Anyways, let's get into the matchups here. Let's talk about. Let me close some of these tabs really quickly. How about we look at Ashley and Henry's game first? So Ashley being one of our, I think, top 5 teams here. She's probably 5th place, I think. Yeah, 5th place.
Yep.
She's got James Robinson back this week. Kamara just had a phenomenal game for her. Brady against New Orleans is not a great matchup, but I think Brady's going to be fine against anybody this year. Hopkins against Green Bay, and Moore against Atlanta. I think she's got a lot of good matchups this week. Kamara's probably the worst one.
Actually, Kamara's
he
there's a stat where he's been averaging at least 13 points versus them.
Oh, okay. And you know what? He
throughout his
catches the
career.
ball so much that that's enough to keep his floor high in this matchup because Tampa Bay
Yep.
obviously shuts down running backs generally, unless your name is Khalil Herbert, and so being involved in the passing game will help him there. So, looking at Henry's lineup real quick, I think Ashley's team is pretty solid this week. Looks like he's got Judy back in his lineup here, who I think will play this week. I'm not sure if I would play him. Would you play Jerry Judy this week? First week back? Possibly. We haven't actually confirmed that he will play,
Yeah.
but he's eligible to and can.
For the people he has on his bench, I think you kind of have to.
That's a good point. Yeah, you got to compare, I guess, to what he's got down there. Yeah, I agree because he's got a bunch of buys, he's got a bunch of injuries, so it's pretty much Russell Gage or Judy, and I think I would definitely roll the dice with Jerry Judy. He's got to play Kenneth Gainwell, who I know with Miles Sanders gone. Did you see Justin drop Miles Sanders?
Mm-hmm.
I actually meant to put a claim for him last night, and I forgot. So Scott scooped him up. Not that he's been great, but he's talented. He's still the starting running back there when he's healthy. So that was a good pickup by Scott. But Keenan Allen here against New England, Godwin. I give it to Ashley this week. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Henry,
Some
unfortunately.
players have way higher upsides.
Yep. Yep, she's got such phenomenal players. She really does. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about who's next here.
JT
Okay,
and
yeah,
Jimmy.
JT and Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Okay, all right. Look at these projected points here, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Close. Um, okay, all right. Well, JT's got some good matchups here. Stafford against Houston. I would look to Daryl Henderson in this game as having a great matchup. Ridley against Carolina should be better. Zeke against Minnesota should be a good game. I like a lot of these matchups I'm looking at here. Looking at Jimmy's game real quick, he's got Jalen Hurts in, who's always solid. Justin Jefferson and Mike Williams are back for him this week. Derrick Henry against Indy, he should probably feast. Although funny enough, he played against the Chiefs this week in a game they blew them out, and it was like one of Derrick Henry's worst games of the season with scoring only 18 points. So it's kind of funny how that worked out. It should have been a game that he crushed in. He's starting Khalil Herbert again against San Fran. Khalil Herbert's been phenomenal these past couple weeks in David Montgomery's absence. Julio, T.Y. Hilton. I like T.Y. Hilton, but I think he's kind of washed at this point, and I think you
I don't
can't
like.
really. He used to be so good.
Yeah.
Fantasy, he was really good, but he's kind of like Julio, sort of at the end of his career at this point, and kind of always dealing with injuries. In fact, I think they're both dealing with hamstring injuries. So funny enough, there. Um,
I thought 2S was quad.
oh yeah, you might be right. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just quad.
so I give it to. I actually lean JT here for some of the matchups.
I do too.
Uh, Kind of painstakingly, it's hard to root against Derrick Henry because of how good he's been, and Mike Williams and Justin Jefferson, right? All three of those guys, and Jalen Hurts for that matter. Like all four of those guys have been really, really good. But some of JT's matchups are definitely good this week, and JT's got a talented lineup still. So I looked at this to be a bounce back week for JT where he gets a second win, and JT or Jimmy may actually lose here. I'm curious, real quick. I want to look at something back in the standings page. Pull it up. I want to see because I think it does tell us how many wins or losses in a row. All right, so James has actually lost two in a row now. Um, so he could drop three in a row after like a super strong start and go 4-4. He could also win this week, but we'll see. So okay, Darren Waller's on a bye for him. Okay. All right, who's our next matchup?
Melissa and Scott.
Okay. All right. Murray against Green Bay. What do you think? What do you think about these two teams here?
Let's see. Mm, I think I'm leaning towards probably Melissa's team. Yeah, I think I definitely lean Melissa's. The problem with Scott's team is that DK's kind of capped, right? He's not going to give you those Russell Wilson upside games.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really liked Fan. The talent's there, but Bridgewater, again, you're very limited by quarterback play. Chanel, again, terrible quarterback.
Yeah.
And people have been saying he's like pretty much almost droppable.
Yeah.
Um, Claypool, it says he's questionable, so I
Yeah,
wonder
he's
if he's
hurt. Now he had the bye week to heal up, so I have a feeling he's probably back to full strength. Um, he's had like up and down games. He's had two games over 18 points. Every other game has been, you know, 10 or less. So, against Cleveland, it's not a great matchup. Um, I really look when it comes to Pittsburgh. I look to the close to the line guys, Najee and Deontay. That's who Ben likes. So,
yeah.
yeah, I think this week. I mean, you look at a lot of Melissa's matchups. She's got Jamar Chase against the Jets, Kyle Pitts against Carolina, Najee against Cleveland. Like only person on Melissa's team I'm really not excited about this week, outside of possibly like Cole Beasley type, is AJ Dillon.
Yeah.
He after fumbling twice last week, he did he got negative points, right? So, um, or fumbling whatever many times he fumbled, he finished negative. So it's tough to start him. She doesn't really have any other options unless AJ Green, I would probably start. Does she have another running?
No, she doesn't have another
No,
running
okay,
back.
so she's got to start AJ Dillon. That or the backup for Derrick Henry, which really wouldn't do. Although Mark Ingram, did you see this? Just got traded.
Mm-hmm. Back to the Saints.
Yeah, back to the Saints. Funny enough. I wonder if Latavius Murray ends up back there too. I wouldn't start Mark Ingram though over AJ Dillon necessarily,
Mm-mm.
especially against Tampa Bay. So Yeah, AJ Dillon's unfortunately her only option here, but just because of the matchups, I give it to her. I think she's for Scott, Nick Chubb, he may or may not play. I think he's trending upwards, but you know,
Yeah,
if they're rushing him back, you gotta sort of hesitate and wonder if he's going to be full Nick Chubb or sort of partial. They might just run to Ernest Johnson again because they did it last week and he looked good. So why not lean on that guy a little bit more if Chubb's banged up? So give this one to Melissa. Let's go on to the next matchup. Let's do yours. Let's do you against Justin.
okay.
All right. Okay. Eyeball on the old matchups here real quick. He's got a lot of just looking at a lot of his players. He's got some decent matchups this week. Gesicki
Yeah,
against Buffalo is kind of tough. Landry against Pittsburgh isn't great, but he's got some solid plays. I expect Aaron Jones to have a good week. Mike Evans probably is. Mike Evans has been really consistent this season. He's had 2 games of single point finishes, and then every other game's been basically 20 points or more. So you've been probably pretty happy with Mike Evans if you had him this season.
yeah,
Diggs, against Miami should be no problem there. Should tear it up. Let's see. You, on the other hand, you've got Herbert going against New England. Okay. Cup against Houston. That's going to be a slaughter.
yeah,
McLaurin against Denver. Again, should kind of be more of the same there. Damien Hare against the Chargers. Chargers, clearly, we ran all over them with our shitty running back, so I would expect Damien Harris to have a pretty good game. Cordero Patterson against Carolina. Sure. Dalton Schultz, yep, good there. AJ Brown against Indy. Yeah, you have a lot of good matchups too. I definitely lean your team. I like some of Justin's matchups, but I like all of your matchups pretty much. Um, Only
yeah.
one I maybe Herbert against New England because their defense is still pretty good, but I think they're going to bounce back from the Ravens game. So um,
Well, Rogers again. No Adams, no Lazard. That's gonna hurt. I mean, you're going to have to
yeah,
really. I think he's gonna throw the ball a lot
yeah.
versus
Although
Arizona.
interestingly enough, I heard today that Aaron Rodgers' best games have actually been without Devontae Adams. Somehow, you would think that's. I don't really see how that can be, but
Was
you
that
know,
with Lazard at least playing?
now
Because
that's
I
the
know
only
he
thing
was
I don't
decent last
know.
year.
With both of them out, it's maybe a different story, but I just know statistically without Devontae
This
Adams, Aaron Rodgers
MVS
has been
comes
better.
back.
Oh yeah, big help there from MVS. That dude's always just like he'll catch like
Always
one
injured.
pass for like 100 yards, get hurt, and like that's it.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, you guys in general, I think you're gonna have a solid week here again. Justin will probably have a good game too, but yeah, it's just I give it to you there. All right, let's talk about we'll mix it up. We'll talk about my game against Kate here. So Kate's team still banged up. I got a bunch of question marks on my team too, but that's just Hawkinson and Swift and Gibson at this point in the season. They're just
Are always gonna be.
my browser just crashed. Yeah, they're just permanently questionable. Gibson with his uh, his shin fracture, he's playing through it. He practiced today too. Like you know,
Limited.
limited, but he was there, and I know for generally, I think most of the season he hasn't been there on Wednesdays. So for him to even be there this Wednesday, like I think it's a good sign. Like he's not in rough shape. He's clearly doing well enough to get out there and practice still most days. Um, so I think he'll be fine, barring any like another injury that makes that worse. I think he'll be okay. Hawkinson and Swift, like I said, they're on injury report every single week. Not worried about that. Jonathan Taylor being questionable. Actually, the first I've heard of this. It's possibly because he didn't practice today. Maybe I'm not sure. I didn't really see anything about this until right now. So I know when they don't show up for Wednesday practice, and sometimes it's just like a vet day, like just a rest day. Um, sometimes they go on the questionable report automatically. So that could be what this is.
You talking about
Um,
for Taylor?
yeah, for Jonathan Taylor. Did you
Because he
hear
has
anything
the
about that?
ribs.
Oh, really? He's got a rib thing going on. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. So hopefully that's a big nothing because he's been
He'll
really good these
probably
past
play.
couple weeks. Yeah, he's since week 4 he's scored 20 or more points. So a couple of rough weeks to start the season, and he's been really good. Otherwise, looking at Kate's team, still super banged up, even more so than mine. Um, Saquon, I think I heard
I
less
don't
than
think he
50%
plays.
chance of playing. Yeah, and you know what the thing is with Saquon, so he's got a bye on week 10. So it seems like he's not likely to play week 8. So do you see a scenario in which they bring him back if he doesn't play this week? Do you think he plays
No.
next week, the last week? Yeah, that's how I feel too. So chances are Kate's probably going to be without Saquon until week 11 at this point. Because 8 and 9, he'll probably miss. 10's the bye. So back on week 11. I mean, that'll end up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks without Saquon. 6 if you count the game in which he, got hurt pretty much right away. So, um, that's kind of actually third season in a row now where if you drafted Saquon, you've had a big chunk of games missed. Last season, obviously, he missed the whole season. But, Kenny Galladay, I think he's got a less than 50% chance of playing as well. So, she's got him on the bench right now, but that's probably where he'll end up. So, she's playing Amon-Ra St. Brown. Kelsey maybe I'll have a bounce back here. So, I just like,
I still give it to you too.
yeah, I think they're just more solid in general. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it to myself here too. Okay, who's last on our list here? Who do we skip
Shannon
over?
versus Chris.
Oh, the old husband versus wife matchup, huh? All right, let's
Yeah,
take a look
I don't
here.
think we even need to talk about this one, do
No,
we?
we could probably gloss over this one pretty quickly. Shannon's definitely going to win. She's projected for significantly less points this week. I'm guessing she has some people on bye. Let's see. Devontae Adams, that's right.
Steve
He's
Brown's not
out.
going to play.
Mandrews is on bye. Yeah, Antonio
Tony Brown.
Brown's. Yep. So, again, it's really hard to pick anybody over Shannon, especially Chris's team, who's been super, 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 super banged up. Wow, is the New York
Oh
Giants
wait,
deep? Oh, good.
he needs to put in Randall Cobb instead of Jamal Williams.
Yeah, he probably hasn't done that yet, but he needs to do it before tomorrow though. So Chris, if you listen to these, make sure you get Randall Cobb in your lineup before tomorrow's game. It's funny, is this the real projected points for the New York Giants defense? 0.16. Is that accurate?
It says it. Yeah, I don't know.
I've never
I've
seen a
never
defense
seen that.
projected for less than 1 point. I mean, right? You understand why they're playing Kansas City, but Kansas City's been,
Even so,
yeah, I still would expect at least a point or two, but so maybe he'll sub out defenses there. We'll see. Definitely give this one to Shannon. So okay, all right, we've covered our Week 8 matchups here. Anything else you want to add to any of these? Any anecdotes? Any?
not to the matchups, but if you go towards where it says standings and you
Mm-hmm.
look on the right where it says current standings, you can actually look at it through the current projections, and you can also look at it from the draft day projections, which is
Oh,
really cool.
okay.
So like if you click draft day projections, I guess
Oh,
based on the draft, it'll tell you like where they thought everyone would finish,
okay. I see. Yeah. Okay. So I had Kate out in front at 10-4.
and Melissa in last
Yeah.
at 2-12.
Wow.
But if you click current projections, it'll have the top six.
Okay. All right.
I guess, yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. All right. So they have you at 10-4, Ashley at 10-4, Shannon at 13-1. That's
13-1.
probably accurate, honestly, the way her team's playing. Power rankings too. Let's see what those look like. Yep, Shannon's in first. So no question there. Yeah. Okay. I guess this is based on power rankings based on projected points for the remainder of the season. Okay. So that makes some sense then, just based on what they think we're going to score for the rest of the season. Yeah, so all of these basically are saying, okay, the top 6 right now is going to be the top 6 for the rest of the season. So interesting, very interesting. You can actually see the playoffs too. So if it ended right now, Shannon and Melissa would be on a bye. You and Jimmy would play, and then Ashley and I would play in week 1.
I think that I kind of like if playoffs were to happen, I feel like that's what should happen based on the teams.
Yeah,
Is that it should be these 6.
yeah, I agree. Based on how things have gone so far. Again, based on points scored, right? It's like the top 6 in standings are the top 6 scorers right now. So, I
Yeah,
think it makes some sense. Ratings and levels. What is this one?
it shows
Oh,
everyone's ratings, and
okay. Yeah, which I never really fully understood how these are calculated,
I think
but
it's dumb.
yeah, they
I
don't.
think each time you win a week, I think you gain points, and if you lose points.
That makes sense. Okay. Schedule.
I'm not sure what this is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Week 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I think it shows the people that you played in the scores. So like week 1,
Oh, okay. So it's showing. All right, I see. You can click each team and it tells you.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I play. Oh man, I got some. I've gotten all the like. I've gotten all the easy games out of the way. Apparently, I've played Chris and Henry and JT, and then I have coming up after Kate. I got Ashley and then Shannon and then Jimmy. So that kind of sucks.
That's funny.
But I finished with Chris, Henry, and JT. So assuming the
I mean,
teams haven't
I
turned
play
around.
Melissa, Ashley, and Shannon, so
Oh yeah. Okay.
you and me both.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Some of the stuff's kind of cool. Last season,
Yeah.
I would as we got closer, um, there's like a website you can kind of link the Yahoo to the Yahoo League to the website, and it'll actually spit out things like playoff odds and kind of some of the stuff we just looked at a little bit, but in a different format. So you can actually get like percentages of like what's the chance of making the playoffs and
Hmm.
some stuff like that. Or like I know one of the things that was kind of interesting was it would tell you, okay, what would your record be if you played somebody else's schedule? Like, say your team played like
Yeah.
Kate's schedule.
Yahoo
What
does that,
would your
right?
be? Maybe if you
I
can
remember
find where it
seeing that
is.
last year. I would not be able to tell you where.
I mean,
I
there's
guess
a.
you could. I guess I could Google that. I've
It's,
seen that though, like where it says where they do like I think the weekly recaps or like your match recaps, and like
oh,
it'll give you those information. I think at the bottom it says that, or like
okay.
it says something like that. Maybe not exactly
All
what
right.
we're thinking.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that because I'm curious. Because that was always kind of fun to see. Because like
Yeah.
sometimes people just have really easy schedules. Like just interestingly, Kate's schedule. Yeah, she beat you week one. Her wins have again been against you, JT, and Chris. So she's played some hard teams so far, but she's got some hard matchups coming up. Her season does not look good either. So, anyways, okay, all right. Well, that's kind of cool. Good stuff to know there. Overview. Just going through some of this stuff. All right. Well, if we don't have anything else to say, we will wrap it up until next week.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Good luck this week.
Good
Peace.
luck.